Most children grow up learning to expect that certain essentials will be provided to them unconditionally. The more affluent a child's family, the more ample and luxurious those expectations can become. Even poor and middle-class children usually grow up with some expectations, though. For some, it may be that they will get some kind of food at least once per day, even if they're hungry most of the time. For some, it's running water and electricity, soap and shampoo, a full bread box, a means of reasonably reliable transportation, toilet paper, and things of the like. The average adult understands the need to provide these things and understands that they come at a price. The children they provide them for often don't understand that cost, nor should they have to worry about such things at too young of an age. Children understand the costs of luxuries that are too expensive and or non-essential to have provided infinitely. As a child, I understood that ice cream, new toys, and new clothes were luxuries. They were non-essential and were therefore things I could have occasionally, but never consistently or whenever I wanted. This was not the case for things like toothpaste. I never had to plea with my mother to get some toothpaste in the house. A tube of it was always right there on the sink, waiting for me in the morning and the evening. I grew up feeling that toothpaste was just part of the house, a privilege that was easy to take for granted. When the time finally came for me to move to college, my mother took me shopping one last time and saw to it that I would move into my new dorm room with ample essential supplies like 500 cotton swabs, body wash, and of course, a brand new tube of toothpaste. Because I was putting myself through college, working and putting a dent into my student loans as I accrued them, I was pretty tight with the money I made. Half of every check I made from working for the college's dining and custodial services went into my bank account, and the other half went straight to the loan office. I didn't drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes, which tend to drain the average college student wallet the most, and my loans covered a meal plan, so I didn't need to buy food for the first couple of years. I would occasionally enjoy the purchase of luxuries like movie theater tickets or a new t-shirt. The purchase of those luxuries, though, always carried a certain aftertaste of guilt that I couldn't even fully notice until that first tube of toothpaste ran dry. I earned that college money by scrubbing toilets, floors, walls, dishes, hot pots and pans. I earned it by working over searing grills and hauling 40-pound boxes of frozen foods through large walk-in freezers. So I always felt entitled to spend some of that money on some form of novelty or entertainment. After all, up to that point in my life, that's all I ever spent money that came to me in the form of holidays or other gifts on. The first time I bought a tube of toothpaste, however, it became clear to me that I was spending hard-earned money on something I was accustomed to always having provided. It became evident that this was not something to take for granted. What's strange is the experience wasn't a melancholy epiphany. I didn't feel remorse when I began to calculate all the things I was going to have to pay for in my adult life that I'd taken for granted throughout my childhood. On the contrary, feelings of pride, dignity, and maturity surged through me as I exited the large department store with a small bag swinging from my finger. It felt fantastic to spend money on something responsible and mature. Even though paying off student loans while in college was far more mature and responsible than purchasing some toothpaste, this was more tangible. It wasn't numbers on a screen or a paper bill. It was something I would eventually scrub through my teeth and spit down the drain. But that very act was something my mother had to force me into habitually doing a decade earlier because that's what was best for me. Now I was willing to invest a portion of what little funds I had into ensuring I could do what was best for me, and to do so without being forced or guided through the experience by someone more mature. On the surface, it's a small act of adulthood that may feel meaningless to most who experience it, but keep in mind that even such milestones of human growth as a child's first time walking don't happen without baby steps.